We begin this hour with new developments out of Israel, where we have learned officials are proposing a new deal to pause the fighting in Gaza in exchange for the release of more hostages held by Hamas. CNN political and foreign policy analyst Barak Rafid broke that news just hours ago, saying Israel has proposed a one-week ceasefire for the release of 40 hostages. That would include women, the elderly, and those in need of urgent care. Rafid says Qatari mediators are now taking that proposal to Hamas for its response. This news comes after Israel's president suggested his country would be willing to agree to a new temporary truce with Hamas in exchange for more hostages.
Israel is ready for another humanitarian pause and additional humanitarian aid in order to enable the release of hostages.
Those comments coming as the UN Security Council had been expected to vote on a resolution calling for a suspension of hostilities in Gaza, but that vote was delayed and sources say it's now expected to take place on Wednesday. The resolution aims to get more humanitarian aid into Gaza. Diplomats say there have been intense negotiations to finalize the resolution drafted by the United Arab Emirates.
We are now coming to the end of what was the deadliest year in the occupied Palestinian territory. This should be a wake-up call that the current status quo cannot be allowed to continue.
Joining me now from southern Gaza is Stephen Ryan, Rapid Deployment Coordinator with the International Committee of the Red Cross. Thank you so much for talking with us.
Thank you, Rosemary.
I do want to start with that report of a new offer from Israel to pause the fighting in Gaza for at least 1 week as part of a new deal to get Hamas to free more hostages in exchange for humanitarian aid and the release of more Palestinian prisoners. What is your reaction to that Israeli deal, apparently made through Qatari mediators?
Well, certainly from the point of view of the International Committee of the Red Cross, anything that's going to bring some respite to the millions of people that are suffering here in Gaza is something that's going to be very welcome. Of course, these agreements are not something that the International Committee of the Red Cross is involved in. This is something that's between the two parties to this conflict. And while fighting is continuing, the suffering is continuing here as well. So this is something that I'm hopeful is going to bring some ease for people that are here in Gaza right now.